Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Michelle Jones, with the Girls Talk Real Talk podcast. Today on our show, we will be continuing our conversation with Olivia Henderson. Olivia is the author of The Dirt I Hid and the creator of Life Through Knowledge nonprofit organization. Listen in as Olivia continues to share her heart, her passion, and her story of triumph, success, and overcoming. What does your relationship with fear look like, and when did it change?
My relationship with fear now is like, I'm gonna say I'm pretty much not scared of too much of anything. I'm scared of God now. Don't get me wrong, because
Well, that's reverence.
yes, but I think the devil uses fear to hold us back from a lot of things. That's his thing. If he can scare you and intimidate you, you won't attempt it. And I always feel like this: if you never attempt it, you'll never know what you can and can't do. So, with that being said, I don't dwell on being scared to do it. My fear comes from not attempting to do it because I have to try. At least if I try and I don't and it does not work, I won't feel bad as if I just didn't do anything and I just sat back because I was scared to do it. No, mine comes. It's a different aspect of it. I'm gonna try it, even if I fail at it. I'm gonna try it, and I'm not gonna feel as bad as I would if like I said, if I never tried it at all. And that's some of the things the devil play those little tricks, like telling you you're not good enough and so forth. And I've heard that too, that I wasn't good enough, or I can't go where other people are going.
On one of your Facebook posts, you said, I've learned this, and so did, let me get it right, because I wrote it down. You said, I've learned this, and so did you. Confidence is quiet. Insecurities are loud. So what did you mean by that statement?
I've run across a lot of people that are very insecure in themselves. So they're very loud. They're loud into like degrading other people, kind of like flaunting what, this and that. And confidence, if you're confident, you don't shout across the world. You don't have to, hey, look at me, this is what I'm doing. You just walk and you just, your shine, your glow speaks it all. Your head, you holding your head up high when you enter a room, like going on an interview. Some people come in the interview and their head down instantly. No, honey, you walk in that room with your head up high as if you already got the job. So, that's what I mean is confidence is quiet. You don't have to be flashy with the confidence. As I've learned that a lot of people that are very insecure are very loud. They are very loud.
Okay, you also said, don't expect things to be different if you are unwilling to be different. Things don't change because years change. They change because you changed. What is your experience with that?
If I wanted my life to be different, I had to learn to change. I couldn't live the old Olivia that, partied and drank. I couldn't continue to be, everybody's friend. Everybody is not going to like you. I can't be, the hangout mom, and ignore responsibilities. You have to learn that what's priority, what is actually needed, and what is not, what is unnecessary. So I say that because you have to want to change. It's just like I tell people with weight loss. It starts in your mind. When you put it in your mind that, hey, I've had enough. I don't like how I look in the mirror with my clothes off, not on, but off. I need to do something. I need to change. So it starts within your mind. And if you have not registered this in your mind and you have not came to terms and committed to what you're saying this is going to do, nothing changes. Nothing will change. And it's like when these years go by, and I'm gonna use this for an example. I go home sometime to Louisiana and I see people that I went to school with still doing the same thing they were doing when I was 14 years old, literally. They're still drinking every day. They're still clubbing every day. They even clubbing with their kids, going out to the club with their kids, because back then you could go out with your mom, and now they're going out with their kids and the grandkids. nothing's changed.
Mhm.
So it's like that tells me your mindset never changed, and it's like when they say, oh, you left, and it's kind of like a funny sense that I left as if I did something wrong by leaving. No, I changed my surroundings, my scenery. I set a plan and I put it into action. I did not want my girls to graduate into Louisiana. I wanted my girls to grow up in the city, not in the country. I wanted my girls to grow up around diversity, not just in a realm of just prejudice, where you can't be with another race. I didn't want my children to grow up around that. So my decision to get them out of Louisiana was for the best, because the graduation rate had dropped. The teen pregnancy rate had shot up. And I prayed and said, Lord, I ask that you allow all of my girls to graduate without becoming teen moms like me, because I dropped out. All of my girls graduated without becoming a teen mom. He granted me that. And some that went on to college. But it's the things that I put into place, and the things I had to make a change. Like, it wasn't going to happen overnight if I didn't do anything. Just writing it down, we can write it down and make it plain on a piece of paper, but you still got to work at what you wrote down. They're not just going to jump out and happen. You have to work at what you're desiring to change. And if that's, yourself, then it's some things you got to kind of cut loose, let go. And you have to really reevaluate yourself. Like, who's important in your life? Not saying you're a bad friend, but if you're not a productive friend, and all you do is every time we talking, it's just a pity party, and we just talking back and forth on the phone, like, girl, these bills and so forth. I can't be talking to you too long. Let me go. I need to be over here in the motivational section where they saying, yes, you can. All you have to do is believe. Let me tell you how you begin. This is where I started. This is where I am. I'm telling you, if I can go from first base to second base to third all the way back to home run, so can you. So that's why I say what I say. You have to be willing to change.
I think that's important. That's one of the things, literally, that I wrote about in my book, Walking on Water in My Stilettos, was the season of change that I actually went through. And I often say nothing changes if nothing changes. You have to be the catalyst of change that you want to see in your life and in your community. And without that being the case, then nothing's going to change. But before things can change, you first got to see that there is a need for change. Because if you're comfortable with the dysfunction that's going on in your life, then you're not going to see a necessity of change. It's only when God makes us uncomfortable and he tells us that business as usual is no longer acceptable that we begin to see that change is necessary. And that change is necessary to literally save our own lives.
Exactly.
And I don't think people take that as seriously as they should, because we can continue living the same life every day. But are we really knowing what our purpose is? Are we really moving in the direction that God designed, created, and purposed us to go in? And I have to often say that because I sometimes hear people say, well, I'm just like my mama, and my mama was like this, or I'm just like my daddy, and my daddy was like this, and wasn't nothing wrong with him. But just as the calendars on the days on the calendar change, you should be changing and evolving into the best version of you every day. It shouldn't be you saying, well, that's just how I am, and I ain't gonna ever change. This is just how I'm gonna be. But if you lock yourself into that, what are you sacrificing? What are you giving up?
Exactly.
Because the word of God says obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes.
And so even when we're not obedient to God, when he's pushing us out of our comfort zone, we're sacrificing blessings, we're sacrificing opportunities, we're sacrificing a better life. There are so many things that we find ourselves sacrificing. And I sometimes sit back and I think about, had I not responded when God called me, where would I be? And like you, I was a teenage mom. My daughter, I got pregnant with her when I was 16. I had her when I was 17. And I went through all of that, but I prayed and I said, God, I don't want that for my daughter. Matter of fact, I don't want that for any of my kids. I don't want my boys bringing home no babies. I don't want my daughter to be a teenage mom. And so that forced me to make different choices. Because had I continued making the same choices, then I was guaranteeing that that would be her reality.
Exactly.
And a lot of times we have to realize that it goes right back to how we started the conversation. That silence and not speaking up and not talking about the things that we've gone through and not living the life that we want our daughters and our sons to live before them will create an avenue for them to make the same mistakes that we made. And I don't wish that for anybody, let alone my worst enemy. But I want people to really realize that there's so much more to life than what we in our limited view can see. It's only when we take the blinders off. It's only when we put ourselves in different situations and a different atmosphere that we're able to see exactly what is available to us. And sometimes, as Steve Harvey said, you just got to jump.
Yes.
You might not know what it's going to look like wherever you end up, but just have faith enough to believe that if God brought you to that moment, He's going to carry you through that moment.
Yes.
So just jump. We're going to take a break here. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated.
Hi, I'm Chanel Jones, the owner and CEO of Savvy Taxes and Business Consulting. So, what we do is provide tax preparation services, credit repair, and we also do business startup. So, really, we're just a financial service and we service individuals and small businesses. Today, I wanted to talk about the top four things that you can do with your tax refund. Now, the number one thing you want to do, or you can do, is pay your bills. Pay your bills down. So, what's going to happen is it's going to leave you more money on the table where you're not living paycheck to paycheck. At least right after tax season, that is. Number two is starting a business. I took some notes, so starting a business would be number two. Starting a business is going to help you create another stream of income, and who don't need another stream of income, right? So that's not only going to create that stream of income, it's also going to help you not live paycheck to paycheck for the rest of the year, right? So then we have credit repair, what you call credit cleanup. So with doing cleaning your credit, what that's going to do is it's going to take you. Sometimes credit can take you further than money, and just being able to make a purchase on credit worthiness is going to save you thousands if you're purchasing a car, and sometimes maybe tens and hundreds of thousands if you plan to purchase a house. So definitely think about cleaning your credit because it can work wonders. The fourth and the last thing, these are tax tips. The fourth and the last thing you want to do is if you're not spending it on paying your bills down, if you're not spending it on starting a business, or if you're not spending it on cleaning your credit, the other thing you can do and you should do is create a savings. A lot of people say you want to create a savings for a rainy day, but it doesn't matter. You want to create a savings for a rainy day, a snowy day, a sunny day, a cold day, a hot day. It doesn't matter. So those are the tax tips. Again, if you guys don't know me, my name is Chanel Jones of Savvy Taxes. And if you want to get connected and stay connected, you can reach us at 630-201-7441. You can also like us and follow us on our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And the only thing you do is look for Savvy Taxes 1.
This is your girl, Michelle, back from our commercial with Savvy Taxes. Thanks, Chanel, for those tax tips. So I noticed your book, The Dirt I Hid. Okay, where did the title come from? I'm a title person, so where did the title come from?
So, okay. Originally, I had wrote this book under another publisher company, and it had a different title. So when I left that publishing company, I couldn't take that title. Uh, and so it was titled Surviving Against All Odds. So when I left, I couldn't take my title because I went to a different publisher. So we rewrote the book. And so, I was just sitting, I was like, man, I did so much dirt, just dirty stuff happened in my life. And it's like, I hid it, and I hid it so well that nobody knew. So then I got to think, we hide so much stuff. Women can hide some, men too, but we can hide,
Oh, yeah.
we can make a dirty house look clean. I'm talking about we can throw stuff under the couch, under the beds. I'm talking about throw the cover up on. And so the dirt I hid was perfect for what I had went through in life, because I walked through life with a smile all along. All this stuff was just going on in my life. And it was like, what? Only a few, one or two people just really knew what was going on. But everybody else was like, what? Did you read this in this book? And it wasn't too, again, my book was never about embarrassing um, or talking about the individuals. It was my story. God told me to tell my story. He said, write a book, tell your story, and I don't care who get mad, you tell it, because it's not for them. And so as I wrote the book and the book came out, I changed names and stuff, so people don't know. But they say a hit dog on bark. So you'll never know who the person was. You wouldn't have knew who it was if the other people hadn't been complaining. So people start figuring out who was who that I was talking about in the book without me even giving the names, because they were so loud.
But confidence is quiet.
I just wrote the book, but they was loud. So I wrote the book, and that book talked about everything. When I tell you this book talks about everything, like now we have this big thing with human trafficking in the world. And I talk about that in my book, but not in that sense. I talk about me when I was a prostitute in that sense. And I tell people, I said, y'all look at human trafficking sometimes as another person taking this person from here to there. But what about when we take ourselves? We trafficking ourselves. So I had to talk about that. That was one of my truths. I had to talk about being that person that was sleeping with men that I don't know who they was, honey, but I know God kept me. And by God's grace, I'm here to tell you that I made it through, and so it's some people that did not make it, went in with John Doe and didn't come out, so I talk about that aspect of my life. I talk about, being an alcoholic, because that's what I seen. And the thing about it is I became an alcoholic late in life, like 30, because I was like, I'm not gonna be like my mom and daddy. I'm not gonna be no alcoholic. But I ended up becoming an alcoholic, and so I became a functional drunk, as I call it, because I call my dad, well, he was a functional drunk. He could drink all day, be drunk, get up next morning, go to work like wasn't nothing wrong. But when he get off work, it starts back. So that was me. But I was at the sense that I was drinking and I was driving one night after an episode of drinking with my friends. I'm spending bill money, rent money. I'm just drinking because my friend girl that I thought was a friend want to go to happy hour every day. We go on happy hour and get these margaritas and shots, so that's me. And I'm drinking my Grey Goose and vodka. But one night I went to a little restaurant and drunk, and it was a 2-drink minimum because the drinks are so strong, but we managed to get about 4 of them. So I remember coming home, and I don't remember how I was on the opposite side of the wrong interstate, but I was, and I managed to get off. I don't know how I did it, but I ended up on the wrong side. And when my kids woke up the next morning, the car was like this close to the front door. So I bypassed the driveway to almost running into the house. So that was one. And then the instance that I was so drunk, I was passed out on the floor in the bathroom. My kids thought I was dead. They were like, is she dead? Well, poke her. So, and I remember being so drunk, I'm looking up like, I see my kids, but am I dead? Because, you know, all of that. And so that's in the book. My suicide tendencies, all was off the chain. I remember once I had got so frustrated with life, not being able to really provide for my kids, I thought about driving me and my kids off a bridge. And I had to call my sister and cry and tell her the thoughts that, you know, and it's like the devil was saying, well, don't leave them here. You take them with you. You know, and these are the thoughts that was running through my head, and being so depressed that when I was pregnant with my son that passed, going through so much with his dad, I remember taking 2 bottles of pills, and I climbed up in the bed with my kids. I was pregnant now, and I climbed in the bed with my kids, and I remember a voice said, your kids will not wake up in the morning and find their mother dead between them. And then I woke up, I was on the bathroom floor, and I had threw up every last pill that I had ingested. So this book talks about all that, but see, I hid all of that. Nobody could know that that was going on. So the dirt I hid is kind of like letting it all out, you know, because that's what I was holding in my slow cooker, in my pressure cooker. This is all the stuff and then some, because I couldn't put it all in that one book. I'm still working on the other one, but majority of what started me on that path that I took was in that book, you know. And it's about, at the same time, I'm letting them know, you know, God's giving us signs. He right there with us along the way, because I'm telling you, he was with me every step. Like, if you know, I know you people say this might be so crazy, but you ever seen the little movies when they say the devil on this side and the angels over here? And it's like in my life, I've always had the devil over here and the angel over here, and it's like I'm arguing, you know, like, who should I listen to? And that's always been my life majority of the time, you know, when making the decisions that I was making, like, who am I listening to? And sometimes the devil would win because I go roll with him, because I wasn't trying to hear the right thing. The right thing just didn't seem like it was a logical thing to do. This wrong instance seemed more better. Uh, Facing life in prison, you know, writing checks and stealing from the credit union seemed it so much logical in my life. When, you know, you're in a situation you need money and somebody come to you with this little, seems like a great opportunity, you just, oh, I'm gonna run with this. But then when it all said and done, now you're sitting here and the feds in front of you and they telling you, you know, you go to court and you looking at 10 years and you like, 10 years, you know, and now you're looking at the fact that I'm gonna be away from my kids for this stupid choice that I made. But then God still steps in and save you from that. Because again, I tell people, God give all of us life lessons. It's like going to school. The Lord will give us a lesson in life to see how we're going to react. And if we fail, it's just like a pop quiz. The teacher give us a syllabus. The teacher give us pop quizzes. And then the teacher give us the final exam. And if you fail the pop quiz and you fail the final exam at the end of the year, if you didn't pass, you have to repeat. That's our life. Sometimes God give it to us in just like a school setting. You be like, I done did this before, right? That means we flunked that thing the first time God gave it to us, so now we got to repeat it. And I was tired of repeating my life. I was tired of, oh, my mama did it. I can't keep being mad at her. It's over with. I can't go back to when I was 12. You know, I can't make her be held accountable for her choices, because God, she has to answer to him in the end. I'm only responsible for Olivia and her choices. And that's how I had to start looking at life. I'm only responsible for me. And that's why I wrote that book.
Wow. I think so many people are going to be blessed in reading the book, because there was one thing in that same post where you had the curse of silence. You wrote about family betrayal and how it almost cost you custody of your children. Let's make that the last thing that we talk about before we close out of our conversation. But how did that play out to where Genesis 50 and 20 comes into play? How they intended it to harm you, but God used it for your good. How did that play out?
Well, it played out to the part that I ended up with CPS. They, I knew when the lady came to me and asked all these questions, I'm thinking, I'm being helpful. And so I'm going to share something that a lot of people don't realize. When CPS comes to you, you do not have to let them in your house. You do not have to talk to them. If they do not have a court order, you do not have to let them in your house. And also, you think by being helpful and talking to them that they're on your side. They're actually not. They're actually on the state side. So their goal is to try to find anything against you that they could use. They don't care because you're telling them the truth, but they want to find something against you. So with that being said, they went to family members that had not talked to me, had not seen me in years, couldn't tell you what my kids look like. And let me tell you, who they talked to. They talked to my father, my sister. These are the people that's mad because I wrote a book and told about our life. So when they talked and told, a little birdie said, you are entitled to the investigative report that CPS does on you. People don't know this. See, this is where people are trying to mean something for bad, but I'm going to educate somebody. So I requested that investigative report, honey. And in that report, it tells you word for word who said what. You see, they say they can't tell you who calls them and tell on you, but when you ask for that investigative report, by law, they have to give that to you. So you're going to know who called and who told and who said what. So the allegations that were told turned out to be unfounded. Well, then they came back and they said they had reason to believe medical neglect of my son is the reason that he passed. When actuality, the doctor said he passed from natural causes due to diabetes, but because of what the family said, oh, she wasn't giving him his medicine. No, my son was 17 and decided to stop taking his medicine. It wasn't that I wasn't giving it to him. He chose not to take it. And I could not force him by law to take it. I can fuss, but he was still acting like he was taking it. So I had to get an advocate, one being a lady that used to work for CPS for 20 some years. And we had to write letters and character reference letters, and I had to go before a hearing and present my case. Well, see, what people don't realize, when you going before CPS, you better come prepared with them. They wasn't ready for me. See, they had that lady came in there with a little old piece of folder, right? I came in there with a binder. And in that binder, I had sticky tabs, highlights, all of my son's medical reports. She wasn't ready for that either. And I presented all of my documentation to her. So she had to sit there and she had to collect this information. She had to go through it, and then they had to make another decision. Not from the first one, they had to go back and make another one. So in doing so, then they come back, what? No evidence. No, they had to change their reason to believe on me to no evidence found of wrongdoing. So that's why I say, well, God, what they thought was something bad. And then the thing about it, they done told the family, it's my fault my child died and I'm gonna go to prison. My son been dead June 5th of this year will be 2 years. I'm not going to prison, believe that. And my name was cleared. My son, they found that and the doctor clarified it was nothing done on my part. He had diabetes. And actually, he was misdiagnosed. When the doctor previously prescribed him metformin, he should have been on insulin. So it was nothing that I did wrong. So that's why I say in ending that, sometimes your family and people don't know what they got going on. And I'm a keen person. If you don't know something, ask. If you unsure, ask. Don't, and I could have been one of those crazy people that say, I'm going to go and sue these people, for defamation of character. But, no, and I could have been loud because I was pissed. I was pissed in the beginning. But then some said, you know what? Sometimes justice is just as swift and silent. And that's when that confidence is quiet. Because I'm very confident that if you didn't do nothing wrong, you ain't got to do all that extra stuff. It's going to show in the end. And here it is 2 years later. Y'all still got people sitting in the family waiting on me. They sitting around waiting on me to go to jail. They probably saying, I thought she said she was going to jail. Y'all got to check your sources first. Just like a journalist. They just can't write without checking their sources. You got to check your sources first.
We're going to take a break here. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated. you purchased your copy of the internationally best-selling book, As for Me and My House. This book contains stories strategically designed to help entrepreneurial creatives jump into entrepreneurship. Be sure to pick up your copy today on Amazon.com. Okay, so it has been wonderful talking to you. It has been wonderful. So I want us to end this way. If someone came to you and they said, Olivia, I am struggling. I am struggling with trying to discover who I am. I am struggling being in this abusive relationship, and the verbal and mental and physical abuse has stripped me of all of my self-esteem, and I'm lost. What would you say to that individual?
I got to first ask them, do they have somewhere safe to go? Because see, the key is to get out of the situation that you will be hurt in. And if they say, yes, I have somewhere to go, even if they say no, I'm going to encourage them to either, one, you might have to call the police to get to safety, or two, go somewhere where you know where, hey, this person can't come, but I need you, when you get there, I need you to find a quiet spot, whether that be their closet. I need you to get in their closet. I need you to pray and ask God to show you what your next step is, lead you. You know, you have to have that confidence and faith of the unseen sometimes. Sometimes, you know, we not gonna see him. He not gonna show up right then and there. But you gotta know, we all got common sense, right from wrong. And we know when something is hurting us, it's wrong. And it would be, my thing would be just to encourage them to really just, one, think of their safety first. Think of their overall, is this how you really wanna live? And they're saying no, then you've already made the first step. Your first step was saying, I don't want to live this way anymore. Mm-hmm. The second step is, now what do I do? That's when I try to give you the best resources I can possibly give you, to where people can help you and guide you along, you know, to get to where you need to be safety wise. And, you know, sometimes people do take those avenues and then they find themselves going back, because again, we have to remember, when we're in an abusive situation, the abuser don't want to lose that power. So they have to be nice to get us back. And that's only to get us back, to start back all over again. But the thing is to remember, how many times has nice appeared before the real person comes out? So you always keep that in mind. How many times have I saw the niceness? So it would be just to encourage them to get somewhere safe.
Okay. As I said before, it has been wonderful talking with you. One final thing before we close out. What is one of your 2020 vision goals?
My 2020 vision goal is, I'm going to be opening up believe it or not, I want to open up a postal net store where you can fax in. So I'm going to become my own boss. That's one of my goals, to become my own boss. So 2020, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Okay. That sounds really, really good. So, Olivia, it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, great.
Now that we know each other better, definitely staying in touch. But one of the things that God has afforded me this platform to do is to really speak into the lives of the people that come on to my show. And a lot of times we don't realize the similarities that we have with other people, or we don't understand that the journey that we took was not necessarily for us, but for someone else to see, to mimic, and to put their own spin to it to save their own lives. So thank you for sharing your testimony.
Well, thank you for having me. Hopefully next time I can actually come down. I like traveling.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When we become transparent, we shake off the shackles of silence, yes, of fear, and of uncertainty. And we begin to step into the confidence of Christ and in the confidence that we were created on purpose and for a purpose.
Yes.
And that confidence is freedom. And that confidence is a surety. And in that confidence is a new way of life. So thank you so very much
Thank you.
for sharing your confidence, your story, your testimony, and your message of hope with our audience. So if somebody wanted to get your book, The Dirt I Hid, how can they get it?
If they don't want the Amazon version, like just a plain one, and they can order it through Amazon, and they can also, if they inbox or send me a message, my email is Olivia, Olivia 70 @gmail.com, and I can send them the app to where they can pay, and I can actually autograph and mail them a copy. But also, like again, they can get it at Amazon.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to be motivated by your life story, how can they reach you?
They can, if they're on social media, they can go on my page. My page is open. It's Olivia Henderson. Or they can just call me, honey. My number is always open out there, 713-532-3504. So again, they can either email me, inbox me, or call me.
Okay. Olivia, thank you again for being on the show. I'm sure that it will be a blessing. I can't believe that we talked for as long as we did without realizing how long it was actually. But I'm sure that the message that will come across will be a blessing to those that will hear you, that will see you, and that will enjoy just your spirit. Because regardless of what you've gone through, you still have that spirit of overcoming, because there's a difference from being a survivor and being an overcomer.
Exactly.
And that spirit of overcoming is just exuding out of you and allowing people to see who you are. So everybody, this is your girl Michelle with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls talk, just about anything can happen. So make sure that you tune in to our next show, which will be going on next week. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening in on another episode of Girls Talk Real Talk. Be sure to follow us on all of the approved podcast platforms and to like our Girls Talk YouTube channel. This is Michelle signing off and wishing each of you a prosperous and joyous life. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.